finishing with 31 points, 17 boards, and 10 assists as the Bucks win for the 5th time in 6 games. They'll return home tomorrow to host Cleveland. Over to the NFL, where the offseason is officially underway in Green Bay, where also no decisions have been made on any of Matt LaFleur's assistant coaches, including defensive coordinator Joe Barry.
I haven't even thought about that at this stage, kind of going through everything right now. I want to certainly sit down with every assistant before any decisions are made.
And lastly, to college hoops, where the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers will look to keep the good times rolling tonight in the Big Ten. They are in Minnesota to take on the Gophers. Tip-off time set for 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Report. Despite this morning's earlier icy conditions, no incidents on the freeway system to report. I-94 eastbound in the Zoo Interchange to downtown. Running at about 8 minutes right now, so travel times looking normal across the system. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, this wintry mix coming and going today, foggy otherwise. The spots that are getting snow could get up to 2 inches. For a lot of folks, it'll be merely a trace, with this being mostly rain. Very icy conditions as well, and a high of 37 in Milwaukee today. Tonight's low down to 34, cloudy, foggy once again. Light rain tomorrow morning. Foggy conditions in the morning and a high of 39. Thursday, scattered rain, high of 39. Friday's high 40 degrees under cloudy skies. And looking ahead to Saturday, cloudy and a high of 39 degrees. Right now in Madison, 33. Green Bay at 32, 33 in Waukesha, and in Milwaukee, 35 degrees. I'm Vince Vetrano, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. It's Tuesday already. Wow. Time flies. So speaking of time flying, this 3 hours is going to fly by. Aaron is with us in the producer booth. If you want to weigh in on anything we talk about today, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ Talk and Text line. I know in the opening half hour of yesterday's show, I went pretty hard and pretty long on a soliloquy, if you will. And I didn't take any calls during that session, but you can always feel free to text in and I will read your text, or if you call, I will take the call, and usually we'll have a nice conversation. So it was really great to be with you today. We have a packed show from the AARP's push to eliminate the retirement age entirely, to consumer confidence, I believe it to be a sham, and then some more bad news for the print world. We talked about Sports Illustrated yesterday. Another domino is falling in the industry. And then we're going to talk about some commercial real estate development stories that you probably haven't heard about. I want to start here, though, on a lighter note. And it took me a few days to really digest this, but I have to discuss this because it is all over the internet, all over the memes. And it leads me to this question. Taylor Swift who? All right. If you watch the Bills-Chiefs game on Sunday, you couldn't have missed it. Travis Kelce's brother, Jason, who was making headlines because he was making quite a scene in the box at Highmark Stadium on Sunday. He took off his shirt. He was having a great time. He was making quite a scene, and he was really stealing the stage from Taylor Swift, who, as many of you know who watch the football games, especially a Chiefs game, all eyes are on Taylor Swift. So I'm sure the Swifties were not too pleased about that. I'm sure that Jason Kelce, who is also a football player, I'm sure he had a headache the next day. But nevertheless, he saw his brother score a couple of touchdowns and head to victory. So that was really funny, I thought, and just wanted to throw that in there. But I want to really start here. Yesterday, Vice President Harris was in town to really mark the start of the Democrat campaigning here in Wisconsin. She was here to celebrate reproductive rights in Big Bend. It was done on the 51st anniversary of Roe versus Wade. And on that day, Republicans held a hearing for the 14-week abortion ban that would go before the voters before even becoming law. So as we know, this proposal is going nowhere. It had a hearing and it's been said to be vetoed. But nevertheless, the campaigning starts now. So VP Kamala Harris was in town. We heard that Secretary Janet Yellen will be coming to town. And before we see Kamala once again, we will see Joe Biden here in Wisconsin. Our only somewhat more popular president will be coming to Superior, Wisconsin, to highlight his economic agenda, including efforts to build infrastructure. And I thought this was quite interesting. So Superior in northern Wisconsin is the site of the Blatnick Bridge, which is he's touting funding that was just recently approved. The story in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel says a project to replace the 60-year-old Blatnick Bridge on Interstate 535 that connects Superior to Duluth will receive over $1 billion in funding, long sought by Minnesota and Wisconsin officials, including Senator Tammy Baldwin and Governor Tony Evers. So if you're familiar with this bridge, if you ever take the 535 connecting Superior, go to Duluth, this is a very important bridge for commerce. This is a very important bridge for people. Something like 33,000 vehicles per day cross this bridge. And it's been a project that's been focused on for a very long time. I know that DOT officials have been looking for money and looking for a way to fund the repair of this bridge. And so as a result of the very celebrated bipartisan infrastructure bill, this project will be receiving money. And President Joe Biden will be here later this week to talk about that. And I think what a great way to campaign. I mean, a successful project, hopefully. I mean, this is a $1.8 billion project that has been, it's been in need of repair for a very, very long time. And this project, as we know, and as we have seen documented by DOT, is very important. But I do hope that it doesn't become the target of some sort of controversy or some sort of blockade like we've seen for I-94. Earlier in January, we saw that the I-94 east-west rebuild was being halted because of an open civil rights probe. So this is a project that has been in the works for decades. Federal transportation officials, though, in December, decided that they would investigate this civil rights complaint over the proposed widening and modernization of I-94. Now, if you're following this story, or if you travel on I-94, you know that it is very, very congested, and there's been documentation about how unsafe this corridor is. It is in dire need of repair, and it has actually come very close to actually happening. There has been a ton of work by the DOT, by the Fed, by engineers to get this project underway. And back in 2015, this was stopped because of the civil rights probe, and that was overcome. And once again, the project was moving forward, and now we see this happen again. And so this project is being halted. It was originally slated to start in 2025. And now there's a question mark around this. And the Fed, or our president, has the opportunity to really try to overcome this. And I sure hope that while he's here campaigning in Superior, talking about the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there perhaps might be a stop here in Milwaukee to talk about the same thing, and the fact that we do need investment in this infrastructure. While the Blatnick Bridge welcomes 33,000 cars a day, I-94 east-west carries something like 140,000 cars per day. And we've seen and the documentation that this needs repair. And if we don't do it now, it's just going to get more expensive. And kicking the can down the road just isn't going to be an option at some point. The people who are putting up this probe, or this civil rights probe, are saying that it disenfranchises people of color, and it's disenfranchising these communities. They're saying we should be investing more in bike lanes and buses. And I will say, since the beginning of this project, we've actually come a long way in terms of investing in bike lanes and buses, something like $25 million, maybe even more, that's been invested to try to offset some of those concerns. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We just can't let perfect be the enemy of good here, and we need to move forward. If this Blautnik Bridge is finished before the I-94 East-West, this will be a shame. So we can't let perfect be the enemy of good. Opposition is good to a point if it makes a project better, and we are well beyond that. So President Biden in town later this week, visiting Superior, Wisconsin to celebrate this $1 billion investment infrastructure. I invite him down here to check out I-94 East-West, and let's get it done. All right, back with more after the break. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ.
Wisconsin's Morning News.
You think my guy's going to be back out on his moped?
Listen to Vince Vitrano every weekday starting at 6 a.m.
And so I'm on this ramp, and in front of me is this dude on...
It's a moped, man.
You think it's a moped?
That's what it is, yeah.
Wait.
It certainly looked like an e-bike to me.
It was well
didn't
short of
look
a
like
motorcycle,
much.
I'll tell you that.
I got to ask you, Vince, did you feel a weird sense of responsibility? I got to protect this guy because he's obviously...
No, I just thought it was funny.
Only here on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
As an independent tire and service center, our loyalty is to you, not the manufacturer.
It's the tire manufacturer's goal to design a superior tire.
But it's our job to ensure the right tires are properly installed on your vehicle.
A service our family has been independently providing for the past 2 generations. So make no mistake about it, our loyalty is to you.
And the dozens of tire brands we carry, like Goodyear, General, and Pirelli,
or Continental, Kelly, and Dunlop, well, that's for you too.
Because we won't know what type of tire you need until you get here.
So instead, we carry them all.
Because we install them all.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair.
Which means you're 100% covered.
No questions asked.
I guess you could call it family tradition.
Be safe, buckle up, and hey.
Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. Your
due for service.
Rich Lawns Tire and Service. Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
Great to be with you this afternoon on WTMJ. I'm Tracy Johnson. We were just discussing President Joe Biden's appearance here in Wisconsin later this week, up in northern Wisconsin to celebrate the funding of the Blautnik Bridge, which connects Superior to Duluth. One texter suggested that there are other borders that we need to be talking about, especially when it comes to the campaign trail. And this on the heels of a story out of Texas, and many of you have probably heard this already, that the U.S. Supreme Court says Texas cannot block federal agents from the border. So the High Court, their order effectively maintains that the federal government, not individual states, have the authority to enforce border security. This comes as Governor Greg Abbott of Texas has put up a wire on the border. And there are different pictures of where this wire is on the banks of rivers. It's in fields. It's on private property where property owners have given permission to put up this wire to protect their property or stop the migrants from coming into this country illegally. And the U.S. Supreme Court sided with President Biden to say, you can't have this wire up to stop immigration or to stop migration because it's the job of the federal government. And so, this is disappointing to see, not the ruling necessarily, but it's disappointing to see that in the wake of this ruling, we aren't seeing another solution to say, how do we solve for this then? Because what we're going to see happen now as a result of it is these migrants are going to come across the border. They're going to be confronted by border security or through officials in Texas, and they're going to be asked, where do you want to go throughout the United States? Here's your options. And they're going to go to New York, and they're going to go to Chicago, and they're going to go to sanctuary cities where the sanctuary cities don't have the resources to take care of them. And so, boy, in an election year, we've really discussed the sticky wicket that this situation is with immigration. I mean, we had the opportunity to fix it long ago and just refused to acknowledge the problem or refuse to agree on a solution. So we're going to continue to see this roll on. And as we see our candidates celebrate the success of infrastructure projects, I hope that eventually we can be celebrating the success of immigration reform so that we can serve everyone, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. So moving now to this story, the New Hampshire primary is today, and I know that Steve talked a lot about this on his show. On the Republican side, we have two candidates right now, Nikki Haley and Donald Trump, and I think this is the matchup that a lot of people really wanted to see. So what comes of this, I think, unfortunately for Haley supporters, I think this is Haley's last stand. We discussed yesterday how far behind she is in the inevitability of a Trump nomination, possibly before South Carolina. I can't imagine going to her home state and losing there where she's very far behind in the polling. I think that the debate of two very different candidates is important, but unfortunately for everyone, it's not going to get a lot of play. What I'm really interested in is what's happening on the Democrat side. We have a state that Joe Biden he refused to apply for the ticket. He did not want to be on the ticket, basically leapfrogging New Hampshire in order to place the Democrat primary in South Carolina, a state that he believes more accurately represents the country. So on the Dem side, nevertheless, we still have a primary. And on that ticket is a gentleman by the name of Dean Phillips and then Marianne Williamson. I think there might be a few other candidates. He's trying to, what Biden is trying to do is really kind of say, okay, this race doesn't matter. This state doesn't matter. And I think that's the way that New Hampshire voters are really digesting it. They're upset that he's not acknowledging their state. And they're organizing right now a write-in campaign to get him on the ballot or get him votes so he's not embarrassed. From what I understand, and I've followed this for the last couple of days, and I encourage you to do the same, is take a look at this Dean Phillips. He's a congressman from Minnesota. He's a Democrat, but he, like many in this country, believe that Joe Biden is not the way forward. And he's not the way forward for the Democrat ticket. He doesn't represent the ticket. And that may or may not be how you feel, but this is what he's saying. One woman interviewed told the reporter that she thought it was extremely distasteful and disheartening that Joe Biden didn't want to be a participant in this primary because his supporters are strong. He won New Hampshire by 52%. With a margin of 52% in 2020. So he skipped this state entirely. And as I mentioned, his supporters are mounting a write-in campaign, but Dean Phillips is on the ticket. And I think it's interesting that we haven't really had the conversation about what the alternatives are on the Democrat side, because there are more candidates and more people who are interested in running. And I know that we haven't really gone too far down the path of a third party or a no labels candidate, but I feel like we might see something. And I don't know when, I don't know how. I think that once we see Trump and Biden as the party nominees, we might see something come forward. But that's just me. 855-616-1620 is a WTMJ talk and text line. If you want to weigh in, again, I promise I'll take the calls, read your texts. But New Hampshire primary, it will be fascinating to watch how all this comes down. I was watching video of it this morning, and I saw the lines out the door. Now, I can't break down for you how the independents work and how the registering for parties works. We don't have that here in Wisconsin, but it certainly is going to be interesting. And the data, I think, is going to give us a lot of insights on what the path forward will be, both for the Republicans and for the Democrats. We'll be back with more on WTMJ.
If you missed this,
Rick Schlesinger is the president of business operations for the Brewers.
We're just really thrilled that we're going to be here through 2050.
or this,
There didn't appear to be a lot of panic as you watched people scurry off the airplane. The overhead bin stayed closed. I mean, it's very clear they paid attention to what the direction was to get off that plane in an orderly fashion.
Yeah, if you fly on a lot of international carriers, they want everybody to know what to do.
check out Wisconsin's Afternoon News, the podcast presented by Guy's Garage Doors.
At Kessler's Diamonds, we know you're too busy to go shopping from store to store, too busy to listen to a bunch of sales pitches, too busy to negotiate. This is Monica Kessler. I'm going to tell you another reason why I like working at Kessler's. Are you ready? At Kessler's, we don't negotiate. We think it's unfriendly and dishonest. So we've never done it. Would you ask your friend to pay a higher price than what you were truly willing to accept? Kessler's is a 100% employee-owned company, and the owners insist that everyone gets the lowest price. Don't believe me? Put it to the test. Go to any of our Kessler's locations and ask to buy something for $1 less than the price on the tag. One of our owners is going to offer to find you something else at that $1 lower price, but the item you want costs $1 more, period. Kessler's is the face of friendship and fairness and integrity. You never have to negotiate at Kessler's, and that's comforting, especially when you're in a hurry.
Brewers win! Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic. Been seeing Dr. Alex and his team since the summer. Different kind of chiropractic care. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. They use a special tool for all your adjustments. It's not just for a sore back or neck. Adjustments that can help your body better adapt to stress. Connect Chiropractic is hosting a workshop in January on this very topic. Details coming to the website soon. And coming in early 2024, a new Connect Chiropractic location in Delafield. So much happening at Go Connect Chiro. That's GoConnectChiro.com.
Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot?
855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. One texter from the 262. In New Hampshire, there's a small village that votes at midnight. 6 votes were cast this morning. All 6 went to Nikki Haley. That's cool how they do that there. I mean, New Hampshire is an unconventional state, but it's just very interesting to watch and to listen to the voters, especially because they have to affiliate with a party, or in some of the races, they have to affiliate with a party. And that is the extent of what I know about how they register to vote. But also in New Hampshire, I found this interesting article from yesterday. New Hampshire is investigating a robocall that was made to sound like President Biden. So the New Hampshire Attorney General's office is investigating a recorded call that appeared to use the voice crafted to sound like President Biden to tell voters not to cast their ballot in the state's presidential primary on Tuesday. The call, which was sent on Sunday, said, "Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday." Biden won't appear on the Democratic primary ballot because of a dispute between the state and the Democratic National Committee over the party's nominating calendar, as we discussed before. But as we also mentioned, there are many supporters in New Hampshire who are doing this write-in campaign. And someone, and they don't know who, put together this robocall, and they sent it out to the voters of New Hampshire. And the quote in the article says, "These messages appear to be an unlawful attempt to disrupt the New Hampshire presidential primary election and to suppress New Hampshire voters," the state attorney general's office wrote in the release. The call was crafted to falsely suggest it was sent out by Kathy Sullivan, the treasurer of a political committee that has been encouraging voters to write in Biden's name on the Democratic primary ballot on Tuesday. So not only is it spreading false information, trying to suppress voters, but it's also improperly / illegally using somebody's name. I mean, this is devious, serious stuff. And we're only in the first contest here. Sullivan said, "My head exploded and I said, I can't believe that some, can't read the word, tried to suppress the vote on Tuesday." So this lady was an organizer for the New Hampshire Democrat Party and a member of the DNC. You know, we don't need to read the article to know that this is wrong. I mean, election experts have expressed, not just in this election, but in past elections, that there have been impacts of artificial intelligence. And, you know, somebody trying to pretend that they're somebody they're not, it's not that difficult to impersonate someone or to use artificial intelligence to generate their voice. And I'm thinking about the process of doing a robocall. I've done some political campaign work, and we've done robocalls. And the way it works is you call the politician who is going to record the statement. You do the recording, and then you submit the list of phone numbers. I mean, it is not a difficult thing to do. I mean, this can be done by anyone, and especially if you have somebody who sounds even remotely like Joe Biden. So this is certainly something that is reason for concern. And because the president isn't on the ballot, I'm not sure how big of a deal the Biden campaign is going to make, but the folks in New Hampshire are certainly going to be slicing and dicing the numbers to see if and how this made an impact. The story goes on to say that the calls are a canary in the coal mine for what we're going to see the rest of the election cycle when it comes to misinformation. And last time I checked, we did not need any more distrust in any of our elections. So more to come on this when we come back.
Why settle for just a job when you could have a career in the exciting automobile industry? I'm Jim Token, president of ADAM, the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. The 115-member new car dealers that make up ADAM have extremely desirable service, technician, sales, administrative, and management positions available now, with new ones opening up every day. Whether you're just getting out of school or considering a career change, the salary and benefits are fantastic, and the potential for advancement is unlimited. The first word in career is car, and one of the best places to find a great career opportunity is at an ADAM new car dealer. Live the life you've always imagined. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows.
Go to work happy when you go to work in the auto industry. For current great paying job opportunities, visit adam.jobs. That's ADAMM.jobs.
Hey, if you did not have your company holiday party in December, have it in January at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. Half your employees' dinners are free. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I know how crazy December can be, and you know how valuable your loyal, productive employees are. Show your appreciation with a world-class dinner at the Fox and Hounds. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, half your employees' dinners are free. Whether you have 15 employees or 150, half are free, saving your company hundreds of dollars. The holiday decorations are still up, and they are spectacular. I love it. The 7 wood-burning fireplaces will keep your employees warm and cozy. It's fantastic. The Fox and Hounds, right there off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the famous Holy Hill Shrine. It is a gem. Book your company holiday party in January at the Fox and Hounds. Half your employee dinners are free, and they are going to love it. It's my favorite place. Reserve today. foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Great to be with you on WTMJ. One texter reminded me, so I was talking about the Texas border decision where the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration that would allow federal agents to cut razor wire that Texas installed on the U.S.-Mexico border. The clarification is that the Supreme Court issued a temporary order while the appeals process continues. It's not a final decision. So nevertheless, we will continue to see this as I hate to say political football that it is, but it's just, that's just what it comes down to. So we have mounting concerns about our economy. And, I always try to keep a positive attitude, but I want to share with you a couple of headlines of job cuts that have been announced in the past couple of weeks. And I want to draw a conclusion and discuss this about what is the path forward. So just today, Citigroup said that they are slashing 20,000 jobs. So 20,000 jobs in Citigroup. They're planning to cut these employees over the next 2 years in an effort to save $2.5 billion. Then the other day, we saw Wayfair announcing on Friday that it will cut more than 1,600 jobs, or 13% of its workforce. The e-commerce company joins the likes of Macy's and Google, who have announced plans to lay off thousands of positions going forward. And these reports are part of the annual filing, and we continue to see these on an ongoing basis, and they tend to come in tranches as these companies have to do their reporting for investors. And one of the things that is pointed to as a rationale for this is in the memo to employees for some of these companies, there was a warning of more job cuts amid the investment and their allocation to AI. Now, we just talked about AI from a standpoint of elections and from the standpoint of potential fraud in elections, but artificial intelligence has been a huge place, a huge source for investment, especially on these tech companies and these customer service companies and these bank companies, because, you've got so much uncertainty around workforce. A lot of people invested in the technology because they couldn't find people. They were looking forward and saying, we're going to need more people, and we don't know where these people are going to come from. You also saw during the pandemic and even before, a lot of people doing job hopping. So there was a lack of security for these companies. And so they said, okay, well, I can trust artificial intelligence to show up every day. I know they're not going to job hop. Also in an environment where you see rising wages and more. And so in the face of uncertainty, these companies are making moves to shore that up. We're also seeing that traditionally high year-end bonuses are shrinking around 20% in a sign of a turbulent U.S. economy. First, I just have to say that a 20% bonus is really nice. But anyway, the article out of Bloomberg News said that the average cash bonus paid to employees last month was $2,145, down 21% from the previous year, according to payroll software company Gusto, which tracks payments made by more than 300,000 small businesses. So this is a large sample size. The industry posted a decline ranging from 3.5% for technology firms to 36% for tourism and transportation companies. So these are bonuses that were paid out across a number of industries, and many of them were tracking this kind of year-over-year bonus. So we're seeing a lot of concern from the employers, too, who are saying, in the past, or at least in the recent past, I had to pay these higher wages and I had to give these bonuses in order to make sure that I could maintain my workforce, that I would have these employees, because I don't want people job hopping. But this is slowly changing. Businesses are not hiring as aggressively as they were a year ago, according to data from the Federal Reserve Bank, fueled by soaring inflation, workers quitting at a record clip. Businesses doled out more generous compensation packages over the past 2 years, so there's less money in the coffers now. And so you see the effects of all of that now kind of playing out. The rate at which workers voluntarily quit also ticked down in November to the lowest since September 2020. And this is a read on employees' confidence in their jobs. They know and they see and they hear about all these cuts around them. And I know that I just read headlines from these really big companies that were cutting tons of employees, and mostly in the tech space. And these are the companies, don't forget, that did the massive hiring during COVID, because they could get the people. They saw on the horizon that there was going to be a push towards tech and online and virtual and cloud and all of that. But we're seeing that change. And I'd say we're seeing it change slowly, but it's really, really fast and really, really jarring. I know that we still have record unemployment, but I think when we see those reports moving forward, we're likely going to see that slowing down and potentially drying up. All right, when we come back, this hits a little bit closer to home. So I'm going to tell you about a Wisconsin-based company that's making some changes, but it actually has a positive ending for Wisconsin. When we return, it's 12:43 on WTMJ.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Several locations, several choices. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they called a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
We are discussing the, I think, pretty abrupt shift that we're seeing happening now in the job market. Oh wow, I'm looking up a story, and sorry, that reporter was talking. One of the texters actually tipped me off to this other story in western Wisconsin in the Chippewa area. Sacred Heart Hospital and Previa just announced closings, and I saw this the other day as well. These healthcare facilities, and it was actually not the first headline that I read about some disruption in the healthcare space, especially in these rural areas in Chippewa, in Eau Claire. This is of major concern to see what's happening. And, I have to look more into this, and I'm going to try to cover this in a later show. But what's happening in this healthcare space in terms of consolidation? You see a lot of people that work in these hospitals that are losing their jobs. That's of concern. Also of concern, though, are the patients, are the people that are being cared for. And what many might not realize is just the complexity of a healthcare organization in terms of what you all need and what's actually required to make this work. This isn't just about having a doctor or a surgeon on staff. It's all the nurses, all the administrators, all the people up and down the line. And it's such a fragile but complex matrix that if one piece of that puzzle isn't in place, you just see a lot of these dominoes start to fall. And unfortunately, for many of these healthcare organizations, the marketplace just isn't sustainable. And not only do those people lose their jobs, but the people within that community will suffer because they won't have access to healthcare, and that's a huge concern. Boy, I could go off on this healthcare tangent for a while, because we talk so much about healthcare in our urban cities. We see hospitals that are making the business decision that it's just not financially feasible to stay open and to care for the community in urban areas. But the rural communities as well, and often they have more an aging infrastructure, or the way that they were originally constructed or placed is just out of date, and it doesn't meet the needs of the consumer base. You've also got shifting populations. You've got changing demographics. And so, that is a really, really fascinating area to watch, especially as the need for healthcare practitioners up and down the line continues to increase. So we'll come back to that at a later date. I want to move here now. We saw yesterday an announcement about Quad Graphics. Quad Graphics is a Sussex-based manufacturer, and they are in the printing business. So the announcement that Quad Graphics Inc. will close 3 commercial plants, including its mega plant in upstate New York, followed 3 previous plant closing announcements in less than a year, as the company continues cutting capacity while demand shrinks for magazines like Sports Illustrated that we talked about yesterday, as well as catalogs and advertising inserts for newspapers. So when paper circulation shrinks, the need for the need for advertising in those pages, also shrinks. So far, Quad's Southeast Wisconsin plants have avoided these shutdowns, and there may be people listening who work at these plants, whether they're in the facility, in the factory, or support the plant. Chairman and President and CEO Joel Quadracci insisted in the January 19th announcement that print remains an important and strategic part of our integrated marketing platform. And this is interesting. I don't know a ton about Quad Graphics, but if a company is involved in the print space, like Quad Graphics is, they print newspapers and magazines and all of that, they're likely involved in an integrated marketing solution. They're probably invested in digital or have partnerships with digital platforms as well. Because as we've discussed, and as As you've seen with the Journal Sentinel or the Business Journal or the Wall Street Journal, this is really the way that print media is moving towards. They're moving towards a hybrid or an integrated model, and then many of them just kind of leave the printed publication behind. So the good news, though, for quad plants in southeast Wisconsin is that in several cases, the company has shifted work from the shuttered plants outside Wisconsin to plants in Hartford, Pewaukee, Franklin, and West Dallas. That is a significant development for the area's economy, as Quad is the largest area employer in the manufacturing sector. 5,200 people work at Quad, according to the Milwaukee Business Journal's most recent list of largest private sector employees. So the spokeswoman for Quad Graphics said that she, continues to follow this. Quad's latest Form 10K annual report listed several trends impacting the printing business, like I said, including magazine publishers facing diminished advertising pages and reduced total page counts and frequency. So one of the things I noticed when looking at these plant closings and the announcement since February of 2023 is that you've got 6 of them here. Two are in California. No, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 6 of them here. 2 are in California. You've got 2 in Illinois. You've got 1 in New York and 1 in Massachusetts. And so I looked at those plants and where those plants were, and it just so happens that all of those facilities are in some of the highest tax burden states in the country. And I think this could be an area that businesses should and are looking at. While they may have gone there because of access to distribution or access to workforce, they're looking at the economics of it, and they're looking at artificial intelligence, or they're looking at automation or robots and saying, maybe we need to shift focus. And you're seeing that across the board with these multi-state companies and multinational companies, even when it comes to onshoring. All right, right now it's 12:53 on WTMJ. If you want to weigh in on anything that we're talking about today, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Feel free to call. It's 12:53 on WTMJ.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go.
There is a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Lazaga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better.
Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Lazaga, only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
A jewelry store can be a pretty scary place. It's full of diamonds and gold, and sometimes the salespeople can make you feel like you really don't belong.
Who wants to feel like that? Buying a diamond should be one of the happiest and most exciting moments of your life, and we promise to make it that way for you. Cross my heart. No matter your age, how you're dressed, or how much money you have, you're going to have a magical experience when you come to Kessler's.
You're going to see the largest selection of diamond engagement rings in one place at one time than you've ever seen in your life.
Looking at rings is a wonderful way to spend time together. And when you find the ring you know is the one, but cash might be a little tight, we've got fantastic financing available and we'll work hard to get you approved.
We're on your side. Kessler's is always on your side. We're 8 stores strong with 6 locations in Wisconsin and 2 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'd be thrilled to have you stop in and see what we're all about.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Quadgraphics announced that it will be closing additional plants, but moving some of that workforce here to Wisconsin. We have just a minute to take a call from Mike in Illinois. You're on WTMJ.
Good morning, or good afternoon, Tracy. How are you?
Hi, great. What do you think?
So, as I was telling your producer, my company does work for Quad. In fact, I was at the Sussex and West Dallas plant yesterday. It's a very well-run company. It seems like employees are pretty happy there. And I don't blame them for taking them out of those highly taxed states. Hopefully those states, including Illinois, and probably the most is California, hope they get the message and, start lowering business. The only way you're going to put people to work is by companies expanding and not by taxing companies and making them move out of state.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Thanks for the call, Mike. When I was reading that story, I was kind of looking for, what's the rationale behind it? I mean, yes, you've got the decrease in circulation. You've got different magazine publications that are making an announcement they're closing down, a lack of advertising, move to digital. And, I was like, what's the common denominator here? And so they haven't fully announced that yet, but it seemed to be kind of an indicator. But once again, like we talked on the show yesterday, and one of the texters reminded me, is that a platform like what we've got here at GKB, Good Karma Brands and WTMJ, providing that local news and the local insight and local input is really what people want to hear. And this is a trusted place, a trusted news source that's got news, information, entertainment, and all of that. And when we look at the way of the world and where we're going, that's really what people are looking for. And that's where the demand will continue to be. Oh, not to mention, they have some great social media, also the great webpage, just an excellent resource. So I have to give that plug because one of the texters so astutely pointed that out. It's 12:58 on WTMJ. The news is next.
Here at Richlands, we offer both comfort service and expert service.
Our comfort service comes with movie theater popcorn, hot gourmet coffee, upfront pricing, on-time scheduling, plus anything else we can do to keep you comfortable.
Put that on top of honest service from the most friendliest, hard-working people you'll ever meet inside a tire and service center, and well, we'd like to believe we're on the right track to meeting your expectations.
But when your check engine light, tire light, or any other light screams, "Service me," well, that means you're due for our other type of service.
Our expert service. Tires, brakes, belts, mufflers, transmissions, and even engine repair.
Come on into Richlands and put our expert service to the test.
And while you're relaxing, enjoy our comfort services too. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it's 35 degrees, a wintry mix today, foggy, a trace of snow, glaze of ice, slushy and wet, a high of 37. Tonight, cloudy, foggy and mild with a low of 34. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. As New Hampshire's primary voting continues, the latest polling shows former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley with a strong lead with independent voters, but former President Trump's numbers continue to rise. ABC News political director Rick Klein.
Since the first of the year, you've seen some big changes in this race. You've seen candidates coming and going. You've seen endorsements. You've seen ad drops, all these things, and it's had an impact. Nikki Haley's numbers have ticked up a little bit. And in fact, it looked at one point like she could challenge Donald Trump and even get into the single digits. But something happened just in the last week or so. Haley continued to rise, but Trump rose even faster. So you come into the day with a big Trump lead, 15 plus points in our 538 polling average.
Meanwhile, the federal appeals court in Washington, D.C. declines to rehear arguments over whether Trump can be prohibited from talking about witnesses and court staff while he awaits trial in the special counsel's January 6th criminal case. Well, parents in the Racine Unified School District angry and confused after school buses abruptly stopped running this morning.
In some cases, turning around with students just minutes from school. That's what happened to Brianna LaLuce's 13-year-old daughter. LaLuce tells WTMJ,
to not give any correspondence from First Student or RUSD is absolutely insane.
She says when she did call the school,
they said we had no idea anything about it.
And she's got this hope going forward.
For the busing company and the school system to be on the same page. I wouldn't think that would be too much to ask. I almost assumed that was a given.
Wyatt Parmar-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Today in Milwaukee, health professionals confirm adding 8 more harm reduction vending machines throughout the county.
Narcan, gun locks, and fentanyl testing strips are just a few of the resources available in the harm reduction vending machines across Milwaukee that can save lives. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley tells WTMJ,
we have to make sure that we're prioritizing resources, especially when it comes down to substance use disorders. We want to make sure that we can save as many lives as possible.
He said he wants the machines in high traffic areas such as gas stations and more in the future.
So to have this in a visible place will provide even greater access for those who are going through this crisis.
From the Outreach Community Health Center, Julian Johnson, WTMJ News.
The machines also include educational resources to assist with using the tools. Milwaukee Bucks president Peter Fagan is helping his mother promote a book she wrote about her life, from a German immigrant to a high-level executive in the advertising world.
How could I not introduce my mom?
Barbara Fagan telling Wisconsin's Morning News when she entered the workforce in the 1960s, professional women didn't have many choices.
We could either become nurses, teachers, typists, or get married. And none of those options really appealed to me at that time.
Okay. Peter Fagan saying more than half of the front office jobs at the Bucks are filled by women.
I was raised by a woman who kind of did everything and, was a great parent and was a great executive, and it made sense to have that kind of representation.
Vince Vetrano, WTMJ News.
The Fagan family escaped Nazi Germany in 1940. Barbara Fagan's book is called My American Dream, A Journey from Fascism to Freedom. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. A mixed bag on the indices today. The Dow currently down 116 points at 37,885. The S&P up about 5 points today at 48.54. The NASDAQ up about 22.5 points at 15,382. News sponsored by Annex Wealth Management's Money Talk. Check it out Saturdays at 10 here on WTMJ. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:04.
Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. Visit jamesimaging.com.
AccuRite Tax and Financial Services has Toshiba copiers and network printers from James Imaging Systems. President CEO Jason Rose.
We have 17 different tax preparers on staff, and we have 4 printers running pretty much nonstop. And during tax season, it's absolutely crazy.
And Jason, those printers from James Imaging Systems have to work just as hard and reliably as your people do.
Oh yeah, yes. If something comes up that's an issue, we have somebody that we can call that can help us resolve the issue very quickly and efficiently.
Reliable printing, reliable service. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing. That helps tremendously keep us being productive, keeps those tax returns going.
Jason, bottom line for your practice?
Happy clients, happy workers, happy me.
Don't worry, be happy with document imaging technology and extraordinary local support from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek telling you about the ultimate hangout for hounds and humans. It's the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls. It's a state-of-the-art facility providing doggy daycare, boarding, and professional grooming services all on site. Hang out with your dog or without and enjoy time at their indoor-outdoor tavern connected to the dog park. Fun, happy, clean, and safe. They even have trained handlers on site at all times. Visit thehoundsandtap.com for more details. That's thehoundsandtap.com.
Thrifters can spot great deals from a mile away. And here the term great deal is an understatement. The lowest prices on men's, women's, and children's clothing. Toys, furniture, housewares, jewelry, and accessories. Bikes, books, games, and more. And every time you're here, you'll find something new. So if you're thrifty, you'll find this place is pretty nifty. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores, Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
For the second time in 3 nights, the Milwaukee Bucks take care of business in the Motor City as they knock off the Detroit Pistons on Monday night. This one by a final score of 122-113.
Giannis back to Middleton. Middleton to try to move to third all-time in the Bucks record book. He will do just that.
Middleton would finish the night there with 26 points in all. Giannis finishing with 31 points, 17 boards, and 10 assists as the Bucks win for the 5th time in 6 games. They'll return home tomorrow to host Cleveland. Over to the NFL, where the offseason is officially underway in Green Bay, where also no decisions have been made on any of Matt LaFleur's assistant coaches, including defensive coordinator Joe Barry.
I haven't even thought about that at this stage, kind of going through everything right now. I want to certainly sit down with every assistant before any decisions are made.
And lastly, to college hoops, where the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers will look to keep the good times rolling tonight in the Big Ten. They are in Minnesota to take on the Gophers. Tip-off time set for 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Time for a Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic update. It's wet outside, it's slushy, it's a little bit slick, but the travel times are pretty much normal throughout the system. I-43 southbound Brown Deer to downtown is about 14, normally at a 10-minute ride, so the construction zone doing its thing today. Pretty standard travel times. You do have near Menominee Falls on 41 southbound a disabled vehicle on the on-ramp. So keep in mind vehicles that are struggling through the system today. But